Now, I wanted to move on and compare and contrast a little bit some similarities I think we both have in the constituencies we hope to represent. Now, although there are some farmers in Falkirk East, there's some sheep and cattle farming in the Braes, there's some cereal farming in Skinflats, for example. Actually, more of the issues occur because of the rural nature of much of the constituency in terms of difficulties with local transport and with broadband connectivity. How's things for broadband for you, example, in your area?
All I can say is, thankfully, so far I haven't dropped out.
Oh, oh right. Well, that bad.
Yes, it's very, very patchy. I can be in the middle of one of these conversations, and all of a sudden, everybody on the screen freezes, and I can lose the feed very quickly. So rural broadband is a major issue for all of us.
Yeah.
Anyone that's in any and you don't, when I talk about rural, it doesn't just have to be out in the sticks. It can be, Crieff, it could be Kinross, it could be any of the wee outlier villages that are, or towns that are round about the constituency. And I'm quite sure it's the same as yourself down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the case. I mean, Falkirk East is characterised by many, many small villages and towns, and the broadband in many areas is just not good enough. And I think one thing I would point out is the COVID pandemic has shown us all how important it is. Kids have had to be educated using it. People are running their businesses. It's absolutely fundamental that everyone, must have access to good broadband speed. Yeah. And it's certainly something that I know I'm going to progress very vigorously, because if people don't have that, they're fundamentally held back. Yeah.
And the thing that really gets me about the broadband thing is the absolute hypocrisy of the Tories on this. They put £29 million thus far into rural broadband in Scotland. The Scottish government have put in over 500 million, and yet we keep hearing how the SNP have missed their target of, by 2021, having broadband rolled out across the entire country. It's a reserved matter. Telecommunications is a Westminster issue, and yet the Scottish government have taken it on board because they realise the importance, particularly to Scotland, of rural broadband. The number of small artisan businesses that are working throughout rural Scotland absolutely rely on that rural broadband. So the Scottish government have taken the decision to spend that money. And I've got a wee analogy that farmers will really appreciate on this. If you imagine that you're a farmer and you're living on your farm and your local village is just half a mile down the road, and every winter you get snowed in, and there's 60 streets in your village, and you go to the council every year and say, look, will you clear the streets of snow? People can't get in or out. It's it's blocking our ability to live up here. And they say, yeah, we'll get it. So they deliver you a couple of buckets of sand, but you've got a 3-foot snowdrift. So you as the farmer, you go and buy yourself a plough for the tractor, and you go down into the village and you clear 55 of the 60 streets that are in your village. And what happens is the council start lambasting you because you haven't cleared all the streets in the village, and then the villagers start to say, well, why haven't you done it, Mr. Farmer? It's your fault that you haven't cleared their streets, but it's the council's responsibility in the first place. Well, that's exactly the same as rural broadband. It's not the Scottish Government's responsibility, but they're taking it on in order to try and alleviate some of the pressures that we have living in a rural constituency, because they know how important rural broadband is. And it really, really grinds my gears when I hear the Tories calling out the SNP for not hitting targets, which are not the responsibility of the Scottish Government in the first place.